Namaskaram, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. On this very special of our beloved founder, Srimati Rukmini Devi's birthday, I extend a very warm welcome to our chief guest, Srimati Chitra Vishweshwaran, senior gurus, alumni, friends. This is indeed a very special and auspicious day for all of us. On this day, we would begin with the prayers.
Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmalaspatikakritim Adharam Sarvavidyanam Hayagrivamupaasmahe Tvameva mata cha Pita Tvameva bandhusya Sakha Tvameva vidya Dravinam Tvameva sarvam Mama deva deva Yam brahma Varunendra Rudra marutaka Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedaihi Sangapadakramopanishadaihi Gayantiyam samagaga Dhyanavastita Tadgadena manasa Pashyantiyam yogitaka Yasyantam naviduhu Suraganaha Devaya tasmai namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Sarvalokanam Vishaje Bhavaroginam Nidhaye Sarvavidyanam Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Manikyavinam Upalalayanti Madalasam Manjulavagilasam Mahendra Neeladyuti Komalangi Matanga Kanyam Manasa Smarami Chaturbhuje Chandrakalavattamse Kuchonnate Kunkumaragashone तुन्द्रेषु पाशाङ्कुश पुष्पबाणहस्ते नमस्ते जगते गमातः सुरासुरासेवित पादपङ्कज करे विराज कमनीय पुस्तक विरिञ्चि पत्नी कमलासन स्थिता सरस्वती नृत्यसुभाषिणी सदा क्रीडागृहं ललितलास्य गतिक्रमाणां विद्यालयम् विमलगानरसानुगानाम् पात्रं कवीन्द्र वचसा महितं कलानां क्षेत्रं च गास्तु जगतां शुभदानदक्षम् जयतु जयतु नित्यं न कलाक्षेत्रमेतत् जयतु जयतु नित्यं तत्र लक्ष्मी समग्रा जयतु जयतु लोके तस्य कीर्तिर्विशाला जयतु जयतु वर्षम् भारतं न पवित्रम् नमो तस् भगवतो अर्हतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स नमो तस् भगवतो अर्हतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स नमो तस् भगवतो अर्हतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि द्वितीयाम्पि बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि द्वितीयाम्पि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि द्वितीयाम्पि संघं शरणं गच्छामि तृतीयाम्पि बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि तृतीयाम्पि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि तृतीयाम्पि संघं शरणं गच्छामि पानादिपाता वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादयामि अदिन्नादाना वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादयामि कामेषु मिच्छाचारा वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादयामि मुसावादा वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादयामि सुरामेरे मद्यपमादत्ताना वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादयामि O Lord, thou hast created man to be immortal and made him to be an image of thy own eternity. Yet often we forget the glory of our heritage and wander from the path that leads to righteousness. But thou, O Lord, hast made us for thyself, and our hearts are ever restless until they find their rest in thee. Look with the eyes of thy love upon our manifold imperfections and pardon all our shortcomings, that we may be filled with the brightness of the everlasting light and become the unspotted mirror of thy power and the image of thy goodness through Christ our Lord. Amen. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alaihim ghayril maghdubi alaihim waladdallin. Amen. एक ओमकार सतनाम कर्ता पुरख निर्भव निर्वैर अकाल मूर्त अजूनी सैभंग गुर प्रसाद जप आदि सच जुगाद सच है भी सच नानक होसी भी सच O hidden life vibrant in every atom,
O hidden light vibrant in every atom,
O hidden light shining in every creature,
O hidden light shining in every creature,
O hidden love embracing all in oneness,
O hidden love embracing all in oneness.
may each who feels himself as one with thee
May each who feels himself as one with thee
know he is therefore one with every other.
know he is therefore one with every other.
May I now request our chief guest, Srimati Chitra Vishweshwaran, and our director, Srimati Revati Ramachandran, to please come on to the dais. May I also request Sri Sai Shankar, Principal, RDCFA, to please come on to the dais. We will now have Ms. Neha, a fourth-year dance student, who will read excerpts from Srimati Rukmini Devi's writings.
Namaskaram. Today, I am going to read a few excerpts from the book Speeches and Writings of Srimati Rukmini Devi Arundel from the chapter Teacher and Pupil, a lecture delivered at Besant Culture Center. Art and beauty are the most vital things for harmonious growth, because then we are laying the foundation of the culture of human being. Not only must we teach art, but we must teach through art. We concentrate upon the brain and therefore do not have a balanced human being. There are three aspects of education which I consider as important. First, art and beauty. Secondly, religion. And thirdly, love. When speaking on education, we must remember that the person to be loved is the one to be educated, and not the education itself as such. We have a tendency sometimes to get absorbed by the idea alone and forget human values and the human side. What does the word human mean? It means beings with heart. Therefore, we need now the education of heart. To achieve this, we need art, because art is the refiner of emotions. Wherever the mind and the emotions go side by side, they make the perfect individual. We must remember that we influence children not only by what we teach, but by what we are. At one time, it was considered that only one person was fit to be a teacher, the noblest person in the land, the greatest person. No one could become a teacher who was not able to teach with his personality, not only with his ability and method. We may have knowledge, ability, and love, but more than that, we must teach in other ways than by obvious teaching. We must first know and fulfill the idea of education. It has been said many times that education is the drawing down of the soul into outer expression. This is the real nature of education. This is the external part of it. The internal part is the relationship between the teacher and the taught. That tremendous link, that loving spirit, which completely enfolds the two. Dr. Arundel once used a phrase, in quotes, the teacher is a messenger between the soul and the body, close quotes. What a thing it is to be a teacher. We have to be spiritual individuals. When we teach, we have created the world, changed the world, started building a new world. We now can understand why the teacher was considered the most noblest profession. Every teacher is thus made tremendously responsible with a very noble and spiritual mission. Thank you.
Thank you, Sneha, for reiterating through Rukmini Devi's own words the nobility of a teacher and the importance of a teacher. Thank you so much, Sneha. Srimati Rukmini Devi is an artist par excellence, a visionary, an animal lover, a theosophist, and a compassionate human being. By means of a melodious song in Ragamalika and Mishra Chaputalam, let's listen to all these virtues unfold, which was penned by Periya Sharda teacher and music set by Sri M.D. Ramanathan. May I now request our director, Srimati Revati Ramachandran, to please welcome the gathering.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Today, we're celebrating the 117th birthday of the great visionary, our founder, Srimati Rukmini Devi Arunde. It gives me great pleasure to welcome our chief guest today, Srimati Chitra Asweshwaran. Chitraka, in spite of her health issues, she has come here today because of a love for Kalakshetra and for its functioning. She has been a board member and has guided Kalakshetra in many ways till date. I extend a very warm welcome to her and to our esteemed chairman, who has also joined us here online, like he's there on the Zoom. I welcome you, sir, for this gathering. And I welcome all the senior alumni who have gathered here, your gurus who have come here today for this occasion, showing their love and respect for where they belong and what they are. They're part of this entire family. We're so happy to have all of you here, the grand people of Kalakshetra who have come here and bless us all on this occasion. Thank you all for coming here, and also welcome Lakshmi Viswanathan, Guru Lakshmi Viswanathan, who's here today. She has edited the journal, and we'll be releasing the journal as part of this event today. I extend a warm welcome to her and to Avanti, Dr. Avanti, who is also here, will be talking about Kalakshetra in a few minutes. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, in human beings, I'm informed of their desires, which is unopposed to dharma. The capacity to have a desire is a real privilege. This capacity will lead one to act, and if you act appropriately, one can accomplish various things. To live successfully is to understand one's capability and capacity to desire. Rukmini Devi was thoroughly in control of what she desired, as she not only desired, but worked in order to fulfill the desires. She enjoyed her privilege to desire, and hence her total attitude towards her own self and the world and the variety of other things was different from what others have. And that is what led to the establishment of this great institution, Kalakshetra. Her capacity to desire and her effort to put her desire in place. We have to think about this today. At the inauguration of Kalakshetra Foundation, which was way back on January 6th in 1936, she has mentioned that, within quotes, I feel particularly happy that we are inaugurating this movement on a day. It was not an institution, but it was a movement sacred to Nataraja, the eternal Lord of dance, the Lord of divine rhythm, to whom I offer whatever I can give. My dream for our academy is that it should not merely serve to encourage the arts as such, but should do no less than to stimulate the spirit of art in every department of life. Without arts, all aspects of life will fall short of achieving their purpose. And as we move forward into the new age, we must restore to the arts the place that they have lost in education, in religion, in industry and commerce, in national and international life, in individual and the social living. This was her thought when she established Kalakshetra Foundation. I'm very happy that today we have all gathered here to celebrate the 117th birthday of our founder. And I extend a very warm welcome to one and all of you, and to all the connoisseurs of art who are present here, and to all the artists, the students and staff of Kalakshetra Foundation. And I extend a very warm welcome to one and all of you. Thank you.
Our chief guest for this morning, Srimati Chitra Vishweshwaran. A little more about her. Eminent dancer, teacher, choreographer, Srimati Chitra Vishweshwaran is a legend in the field of Indian dance and has the distinction of being a scholar, a thinker, and a seeker. Deep-rooted in Bharatanatyam under Srimati T.A. Rajalakshmi and the doyen Varuvur Sri Ramaya Pillai, an eclectic background and an inner thirst for knowledge launched her on a voyage of discovery at a very young age. After initiation into dance by her mother, Srimati Chitra underwent training in Western classical ballet in London, which was followed by lessons in Manipuri, Kathak, and in Kolkata. Her research work directed her towards the extension of the existing Bharatanatyam repertoire and has led to the creation of a voluminous body of work covering the Margam, thematic solo and group dance theatre productions, which reflect individuality and are a synergy of tradition and innovation. She has received several awards and accolades, including the Sangeet Natak Academy Award and the title of Kalaimamani conferred by the government of Tamil Nadu. In 1992, she has received the Padma Shri, one of the top civilian honors given by the government of India. We're very happy today to have such a veteran artist in our presence today. May I request our director to felicitate Srimati Chitra Vishweshwaran. May I now request Srimati Chitra Vishweshwaran to address the gathering.
Om Namo Bhagavate Muttu Krishnaya. My namaskarams to all the senior alumni of Kalakshetra, the faculty, the students, and every one of you who have been inspired by Rukmini Devi Arundel and hold her in the greatest esteems. My special namaskarams to the chairman, Sri Ramadurai. Today we are gathered in the hallowed presence of Kalakshetra to celebrate the extraordinary human being, Srimati Rukmini Devi, who founded it, who built it into an institution of international repute. But she herself is an institution in herself. We are here to celebrate her. We are here to remember her. But even as I was driving down, I was wondering, does God need our prayers? No. Does Srimati Rukmini Devi need this celebration or remembrance? For she will always be remembered. It is for our own sake that we pray. We need the prayers. Similarly, it is for our own sakes that we revisit her life. We read about her. We exchange thoughts about her and experiences. We remember, especially, what she stood for and the value system she inculcated directly through Kalakshetra and indirectly to many others. Inspired by her, we have the direct and indirect philosophy and attitude continuing. Even today, she stands tall. She stands tall like other greats of our country, like Tagore. She, as everybody knows, and especially here, all that she has done, all that she has revived. Do we remember her by just? It's not small, but keeping her choreographies alive, her teaching systems alive, her pedagogy alive, everything that happened here in Kalakshetra alive. But isn't it even more important that we remember the value system she lived for and stood for. What an inclusive value system, an artistic value system, be it the performing arts or the visual arts or any art or craft, be it educational values, the revival and awakening of everything Bharatiya in our Sanskriti, or human values, or humane values, or aesthetic values. Values which were so inculcated in all and which were intertwined with the very life she led. So much so that living that life was an art, and to us should remain an art. In my humble opinion, we are here to reiterate those values. We are here not just to remember from here, but to remember here. To remember how she opened up the seeing eye and the hearing ear and awakened the very core of the being. We are here to remember that beauty is truth and truth is beauty. And that is the Godhead. May we all seek, even as she showed us the way, may we all pledge ourselves to that inclusive, holistic value system that she lived for and lived. The greatest offering would be to pledge ourselves to what she stood for and to make that a way of our lives. Thank you very much for inviting me, Devi. And to be here, to me, is always like entering a temple. The temple, which again is our body, which is within which our soul is enshrined. Namaskaram.
Thank you, Akka, for inspiring us with your articulate speech this morning. Thank you very much. Our chairman, Sri Ramadurai, will now release the Kalakshetra Journal, which was compiled and edited by Srimati Lakshmi Vishwanathan. A few words about our chairman. Sri S. Ramadurai was in public service from February 2011 to October 2016. During his tenure as the chairman of the National Skill Development Agency and the National Skill Development Corporation, his approach was to enhance skilling by ensuring quality and standards of outcomes through leveraging technology and creating an inclusive environment to cooperate, collaborate, and coexist. He strongly believes that empowering the youth with the right skills can define the future of the country. Sri Ramadurai is currently chairman of the advisory board at Tata Strive, the Tata Group's CSR skill development initiative that aims to address present skilling youth for employment and community enterprise. Given his keen passion to work in the social sector and with the community initiatives, he serves as a chairman on the Council of Management at the National Institute of Advanced Studies and the chairperson of the governing board at the Tata Institute of Social Sciences. He is also the president of the governing board of Sahapedia, a web-based open resource on the arts, culture, and histories of India. Over the last 10 years, they have documented diverse aspects of Indian culture as multimedia modules in collaboration with institutions such as the Archaeological Survey of India, Indian Institute of Advanced Study, and the National Center for the Performing Arts. Among his varied interests, Sri Ramadurai is also passionate about photography and Indian classical music. Sir, we request you to release the Kalakshetra Journal number 8, compiled by Srimati Lakshmi Vishwanathan.
Thank you.
Our director will give the first copy to Srimati Chitra Vishweshwaran. May I now request Srimati Lakshmi Vishwanathan to please come on to the stage. She has helped us with the compiling and editing of the journal. We would like to felicitate her.
Distinguished guests, on the stage, Srimati Chitra Vishweshwaran, Vidwan Sai Shankar, Srimati Revati Ramchandran, and Chairman, last but not least, Sri Ramadurai, faculty, old students, veterans, students, and my good friend Avanti Medhuri. I'm so happy that after a kind of traffic jam, this journal has been released almost after 1 year. So I wish to thank Srimati Revati for taking the initiative, because some international scholars have written in this journal and they kept emailing me, when is it coming? When is it coming? I said, coming, coming, coming. So finally it's come. I'm sure they'll be very happy because it's a very worthy read. I'm very happy to have been associated with Kalakshetra in multiple ways from the time of Srimati Rukmini Devi, when she casually told me, come and help with the journal. So we revived it during the time of Priyadarshini, and then we continued and we had some beautiful articles and beautiful themes about beautiful people and beautiful places, because it's not just about dance. It's about music, heritage, culture, architecture, paintings, you name it. I'm very happy to have been invited today. After a long time, we are all meeting each other face to face, in spite of only speaking with our eyes. So the mask is one thing, but to see people is another thing. So I'm very happy to meet all of you here today. And I wish the celebrations for Rukmini Devi's birthday to continue in full swing. In fact, the whole year, they have to continue celebrating, because we have had a lot of quietude in this campus. It will be vibrating again, and I wish it all great success. Thank you.
Thank you, Akka, for your wishes. We will now have Devi Vasante rendered by the students in Ragam Vasanta, set to Adi Talam. May I now request our chairman to say a few words on the occasion.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Very good morning to all of you. It's a great honor to be present in celebration of the 117th birth anniversary of Srimati Rukmini Devi Arundel, a Doyen who sowed the seeds of this great institution and made it a globally renowned one. More importantly, the service it has rendered to the young youth of our nation, international participants, and developed so many people as human capital in the art forms was absolutely remarkable. More importantly, at a time 117 years ago, to have conceptualized, to have learned, to have built, and painstaking effort that has gone into it, which we all cherish. We remember her and we celebrate the things that she stood for. As the chief guest said, the value systems, the humane ways of looking at problems with a passion which is unmatched. And that's what she wanted everyone to be inculcated, practice, and live those values more importantly. As we look at the future, the kind of problems that we are facing, namely the climate change, protection of the well-being beyond the human beings, and living in harmony with nature are some things which we need to continuously strive for. The technology enables some of these things possible to reach the masses, but participation by one and all, irrespective of their social standing, is what we all need to stand for. An inclusive India, an inclusive world, we all pray for the well-being of our planet. Thank you so much for inviting me. I wish I was there personally. Because of the current crisis, we have all been homebound. As soon as the vaccination is taken, we will all make sure that we can meet physically and cherish what the founders stood for. All the very best with the celebrations. I've been seeing it for the last 2 or 3 days. It has been a remarkable event that has been put together by our Director, Srimati Ramachandran. I would like to thank our Chief Guest, Srimati Chitra Vishweshwaran, and also the launch of the book, which was long overdue, and Mrs. Vishwanathan. Thank you so much and all the very best. Good luck. Namaskaram.
Thank you, sir, for constantly guiding us and supporting us. Thank you very much. It gives me great pleasure in proposing the vote of thanks this morning. At the outset, I would like to thank Srimati Chitra Vishweshwaran for accepting to be the chief guest this morning. Thank you, Akka, for your gracious presence. We at Kalakshetra are indeed fortunate to have the support of our illustrious chairman, Sri Ramadurai, in all our endeavors. Thank you, sir, for always motivating us by your presence. We would like to acknowledge and thank dancers, choreographer, and author, Srimati Lakshmi Vishwanathan, for assisting us in editing, compiling, and releasing of the Kalakshetra journals. Thank you, Akka. A heartfelt thanks to our senior gurus and alumni who are a great source of inspiration and strength to Kalakshetra. I would also like to thank Alap for publicity, the committees of outreach, the theatre staff, and the sound and light in charge for rendering the support today and in assisting with the live streaming. Last but not least, a big thank you to one and all of you for making today very special and very memorable by your presence. Thank you. Namaskaram. Just give us a few minutes. In a few minutes, we will start our next session, in which we will have a talk by Dr. Avanti Meduri and a Nama Sankirtanam by Udailur, Kalyana Raman and group. Just give us a few minutes. Thank you. Namaskaram. In our next session, we will now have a talk by Dr. Avanti Meduri. We are all aware that Srimati Rukmini Devi was a visionary, a revivalist who brought about great changes in the scenario of performing arts. Art is well known for its amazing feature of educating people and creating a pleasant environment. It influences society by instilling values and is a vehicle for social change. Kalakshetra was founded in the year 1936 by Srimati Rukmini Devi on these principles. This morning, Dr. Avanti Meduri will be throwing light to us on the topic Rukmini Devi and Kalakshetra legacy in a global perspective. Briefly on Dr. Avanti Meduri's credentials. Dr. Avanti Meduri is a scholar, dancer, actress, playwright, curator, and arts administrator. Born in Chennai, Dr. Meduri trained in Kuchipudi and Bharatanatyam from Padma Bhushan, Vempati Chinnasatyam, and Adayar Shri K. Lakshman. She also studied Carnatic music with S. Rajam and Sitarama Sharma of Kalakshetra. In the late 1980s, Dr. Meduri stepped out of an active professional career in dance to explore further studies in arts and education. She received her PhD in dance and performance studies from the Tisch School of Arts, New York University in 1996. Dr. Meduri's doctoral thesis, Nation, Women Representation, the Sutured History of the Devadasi and Her Dance, 1856 to 1960, which she later adapted into a bilingual dance theatre production, examined the transnational traditions of Bharatanatyam and focused on exceptional Devadasi artists, Bangalore Nagaratnamma, T. Balasaraswati, and also the founder-director of Kalakshetra, Srimati Rukmini Devi Arundel. Dr. Meduri established the Center for Contemporary Culture, New Delhi, in 2000 and curated the Rukmini Devi Arundel photo archives, which was presented in various countries. She also authored and edited the volume entitled Rukmini Devi, a visionary architect of Indian culture and the performing arts, which was released by the late President of India, Shri APJ Abdul Kalam. A play titled Birds of the Banyan Tree, which featured the life of Rukmini Devi Arundel, and another theatre performance entitled The Three Women of the Theosophical Society, which featured Theosophist Madame Blavatsky, Annie Besant, and Rukmini Devi, were also produced by Dr. Meduri, and these productions were staged nationally and internationally. In 2005, Dr. Meduri took up the post as Associate Professor in the Department of Dance at the University of Roehampton, London. She created the first South Asian dance masters in all of UK and Europe. Later, Dr. Meduri also curated the Kuchipudi traveling exhibition with UKTA, United Kingdom Telugu Association, which was presented in 7 European countries. A fellow at the International Research Center, Free University Berlin, Dr. Meduri is co-founder of the Asian Performing Arts Forum London, a consortium of 3 London universities engaged with Asian dance, theatre, and performance. Dr. Meduri was appointed as Equality, Diversity, and Inclusivity Officer of the Dance Headship, which is UK's national body for dance, in 2020. Recipient of several national and international awards and fellowship for her work in the field of performing arts, Dr. Meduri has over 40 publications to her credit. As a scholar artist, Dr. Meduri's dance, theatre, and performance work explores the intersections between archives, gender, and biography, and is located within what is known as practice as research. May I welcome Dr. Meduri to please come on to the dais and give her talk.
Firstly, namaskaram, good morning to all of you. I want to say how happy I am to be here with you today on this very happy occasion of the 177th birthday celebrations of the legendary late Srimati Rukmini Devi Udailur, the founder of Kalakshetra. I want to thank Director Revati Ramachandran and the Kalakshetra board, Mr. Chairman, and for all of you for extending this very warm invitation to me to be here with you today. I am deeply moved and honored to be here and to speak to you from this place on this auspicious occasion, and this place being the Arangam, the Rukmini Devi Arangam itself. I want to speak with you about something that we haven't spoken about for a long time. And I want to talk with you about the globality, the global vision of Rukmini Devi Udailur. It is a difficult task to talk about this globality because this globality, this global vision that is with us here in Kalakshetra today, goes back to the founding of the Theosophical Society itself by Dr. Annie Besant in what is known as the long 19th century period of colonial rule in India. I don't know if the slides are going to come on. The complex, first slide. Yeah. The complex globality of those times is everywhere today in the institution. That other history is in Rukmini Devi's name. It is in her signature. It is there in the foundational history of Kalakshetra and her sister institutions. And it is there in the Kalakshetra Bani. It is there in the dance dramas. It is there in her choreographies. This globality is present palpably, materially in the institution because of the pioneering art and art education vision that Rukmini Devi, along with George Arundel, constituted for Bharatanatyam in the inaugural years of the institution. I'm going back a long time, from 1933 to 1950. Rukmini Devi not only maintained this vision, even after moving to Tiruvanmayur, where we are here now today, in the 1960s, she maintained it through her long and very distinguished career, which ended in 1986. Next slide. I can't even see it from here. The next slide. Yes. So the globality of her vision, that 19th century vision, was preserved and safeguarded even after Kalakshetra was deemed an institution of national importance through an act of government in 1994. 3 women directors, the Trinity, actually, Leela Sampson, Priyadarshini Govind, and Revati Ramachandran were appointed to provide steer and guidance, leadership for this organization. And they too, in different ways, safeguarded the global vision and brought this forward to this moment in 1921. Kalakshetra is a historical global arts institution, and there is a dynamic continuity here. Like the sea itself, Kalakshetra renews itself in time through birthday celebrations. It adapts to the vicissitudes of the present, of nature, of time, COVID, and so on, but retains and regains its rhythms, preserves its internal dynamism. Kalakshetra is like a pravaham. It is a flow, a dynamic living flow, a tradition, a dynamic tradition, and a historical institution in the best sense of the word. Next slide. I began my research on Rukmini Devi and Kalakshetra in the 1990s. That's a long time ago. I stayed here on Rukmini Devi Street and interviewed so many who are not here with us anymore. The late Shankara Menon sir, Padmasini teacher, Sharada Hoffman, Peter Hoffman, Yes Sharada, Sundari, Kamala Rani, Krishnaveni Lakshmana, and so on. I did not see the globality of Kalakshetra in that time when I was doing my doctoral research. I did not want to see it. I wanted to perceive Kalakshetra as a national institution and the vision of a very privileged, very beautiful Brahmin woman. I wanted to see Kalakshetra simply as a transitional organization, an institution that enabled the historic transition of South Indian performing arts from pre-colonial, from the 19th century into the modern world of the 20th century. I was also interested in the 1990s in looking at state patronage in the 1950s and how Rukmini Devi became a national figure in this moment, becomes a Devi of a kind in the 1950s. And the implications of that deification of Rukmini Devi, that iconization of Rukmini Devi for dance history. That was what I was interested in the 1990s. Next paradigm. So, but it is only after I finished my doctoral research in 1996 at the Tisch School of the Arts that I realized that this national paradigm is a very narrow framework to understand this global legacy of Rukmini Devi. Too narrow indeed. The paradigm besides was not right. It was not just because it was too narrow. It boxed her, you see, and in a sense was a blunt methodological tool, not fit for purpose at all. Rukmini Devi was not just an Indian nationalist, but also a global Indian woman theosophist artist and an institution builder. Rukmini Devi became this global Indian immediately after her marriage to Arundale in the period between 1920 and 1933. That's the first 13 years of her life. Similarly, the Kalakshetra institution, which is today a national institution of national importance, is a global institution and continues to be a global institution because of its links to Besant Memorial School, founded in 1934, which is linked itself to the Theosophical Society going back, the headquarters, when they moved it to Adyar in 1895. Kalakshetra Bani, which we all rejoice and celebrate, I'm going to be controversial and provocative. Please bear with me. Kalakshetra Bani is not just a Pandanallur style of Bharatanatyam. It was also an Anna Pavlova-inspired Pandanallur style of Kalakshetra Bharatanatyam. Two sources defines Kalakshetra Bani. European ballet on the one hand and the grand Pandanallur tradition on the other. You see this globality of this double source that is informing her creativity in the linear lines of the Pandanallur style. You see this in the linear spatiality of the Kalakshetra Bani. We see the globality in the punctuation, the jerks and the angularities, the squares and the rectangulars and the spatial configurations in the choreography itself. And we see this globality in that wonderful rounded and squared leaps of Balagopal as Hanuman into space and landing back in time, the time of Kalakshetra and its choreography. So the globality is there in the form of Kalakshetra, the Bani, if you want to see it. You may not want to see it, but it is there if you want to see it. So I then realized that this national frame is too small a frame to look at her, and revised my dissertation history by reconceptualizing her legacy from a global perspective. I became involved in the Rukmini Devi centenary celebrations in a marginal way, and did the Rukmini Devi photo exhibition, edited a volume of essays, and published many essays, 2004, 8, 5, 2008, 10, 18, to make this intervention so that we stop looking at her simply as a national figure, but can also look at this global dimension. I also choreographed, that 2 plays. And this is the history, the global history of Rukmini Devi, her global vision, the global legacy that I teach in Roehampton University, London. I'm sorry to say, however, that what we have today, both here and abroad, in India and abroad, we look at Rukmini Devi in this narrowest way, that is through the national paradigm. And this holds today. It is like a seedbed framework, and it prevails here in India and abroad, unfortunately. Next slide. To see something, I just want to say this, and then after this, I'll just go through my lecture with photos, yeah? Just want you to please listen to me on this point. To see something, you have to name it. Today, I want to foreground this history and present it to you as such. We all know that to see something, I'm saying it again, to see something, you have to name it. And if you cannot name it, you cannot see it. And if you cannot see and name it, you cannot discuss it. I think the time is right now, for ever so many reasons, post-COVID, for us to consider this global vision of Kalakshetra. We are living, you are all living as the next generation, as the millennial generation. You are living in a global age. And I think it is perfectly okay to consider the global history of a global institution on a day like this one. In this lecture, I will provide, I hope you will stay till the end, I will provide a brief history, and after this, it's going to go very quickly. I will provide a very brief history. Most of you know this, but nonetheless, a brief history of Rukmini Devi's international arts and education legacy, well known to Kalakshetra alumni and those who are not here, and staff and faculty who are listening to it, hopefully. But I simply want to reframe this legacy within a global perspective. I will focus on 2 constitution moments when Rukmini Devi becomes a global Indian, and the constitution of the Education Without Fear and Art Without Vulgarity initiative. While this vision, that vision of those other times prevails with us here, there is very little scholarship on this movement, which is largely, as I said, a result of a failed scholarship on Rukmini Devi, which was constituted itself in this period that Sri Dhananjayan has rightly described as the golden age of the Kalakshetra institution, the golden age being from 1950 to 1975. Allow me to remember this history of this institution. You all know this in song and verse. I have seen Dhananjayan, you know what I'm going to say. I have seen Dhananjayans and the Chandrasekhars, Leela Samson, and so Krishnaveni Lakshman, of course, dance this Tillana. You all know what I'm talking about, the Natabhairavi Tillana, right? I'm nearly tempted to sing it. ఈ వసుదలో భరత శాస్త్రమును ప్రబలపరచుటకే కళాక్షేత్రమును వేవేగమే పూనికతో స్థాపించి పాలించు రుక్మిణీ దేవి నీ వంటి కారుణ్యశీలురలెవరు లేదనుచు మదిలో నెతలచి ఏ వగలనైనా వ్యత తీర్చి మనము కాపా. You see? Thank you. I think this was composed sometime in the 40s by Mysore Vasudevacharya. And, sorry. Yeah, exactly. I misrepresented that. There you are, all the experts. So, Natabhairavi Tillana. And it's not a homage to Rukmini Devi. It is the homage to what the institution was in that moment as a prophecy of what it will become and is today with us, you see. So I wanted, therefore, to remember in emotion and song that moment. Okay, so now I can't see these slides. It's too far away. I'm going to draw your attention to the slides, and I'm going to tell you this story, those of you who don't know it. Rukmini Devi was born on February 29th. You know that she married Arundel against great opposition, fled to Mumbai to register her marriage. And then after her marriage, Rukmini Devi became a daughter, pupil, and helper to Dr. Besant, and life companion to Dr. Arundel. She followed her husband on his world travels and was made president of the All India Federation of Young Theosophists in 1923 and of the World Federation of Young Theosophists in 1925. So the East-West marriage, what we in London will say brown-white marriage, the East-West marriage enabled Rukmini Devi to travel the world and work in the multiple fields of education, theosophical education, culture, and arts. But it also actually enhanced her reverence for Indian tradition. Next slide, please. The intercultural marriage, this is important. The intercultural marriage also inspired Rukmini Devi to think about India in the world context. And Dr. Besant nurtured her as her own spiritual daughter and made her the leader of the World Mother Movement, conceived as a parallel movement to the World Teacher Movement. Kekaringla, are you listening to me? So there were two world movements, and she was the World Mother. And here, I want to read something to you. At the Theosophical Star Camp held in Oman in 1925, Rukmini Devi would be 16 years old at this time. Oh, no, 20 years. Dr. Besant announced, and I'm quoting, Rukmini of glorious past will be Rishi Agastya's messenger to the women and young ones in India, taking up for a large part of the work there that I have been carrying on for years. Young in body, yet she is old in wisdom and power. Child of the indomitable will is her welcome in the higher world. This is a prophecy, Annie Besant's prophecy. And she says, it is well that such a movement should be led. Annie Besant is handing over. It is well that such a movement is led by an Indian woman chosen for this splendid work. Wide as the world it will be, great as the divine power it will be. This is 1928. Rukmini Devi has not even started to learn the dance at that time, but this was the prophecy. So in this time, in the 13 years, she's traveling, she's wife of Arundel, she becomes the Devi, the World Mother, and she is living abroad and in India and traveling to all the countries. She meets Anna Pavlova. As you know, she doesn't learn the dance from her. She is inspired by these lines of ballet, the lines of spatiality that she sees in Anna Pavlova's vision. And I cut to the chase. What Rukmini Devi will do is she will take all these legacies, the legacies of the brotherhood from Arundel, the feminist history from Annie Besant, the Anna Pavlovian legacy, all three legacies, she will Indianize it in the years to come. And when she starts Kalakshetra. So a global vision will become Indianized at the moment of the starting of the Kalakshetra vision. So next slide. So after the demise of Annie Besant, Rukmini Devi steps into her shoes and she starts establishes the Besant Memorial School as a living memorial to Dr. Besant. And at the same time, I mean, she's helping Arundel do this at this time. At the same time, she's learning the dance from Bharatanatyam, from Gauri Amma and Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai. And she gives her debut performance, you know all this, 1935. Arundel was very impressed after he saw her performance, and he decided to incorporate Rukmini Devi's art vision into Theosophical Society, into the objectives of the Theosophical Society. Next slide. I'm not going to read all that. So Arundel incorporates the arts movement into the vision of the Theosophy. He calls it the fifth movement, arts movement. There were four movements. He says this is the fifth movement, and he incorporates it into Theosophy. And he says this is Theosophy as beauty, Theosophy in the arts, Theosophy through music, and so on. So you see how this is an international vision right from the moment. So next slide. Rukmini Devi responded to Arundel's speech by disclaiming the name of the academy, International Academy of the Arts, and saying that it is only a provisional name and that it will have to serve till we find a better name for it afterwards. She defined the goals of the academy and said it is to emphasize the essential unity of all true art, to work for the recognition of arts as inherent in effective individual, national, religious, and international growth. But she spoke eloquently even at that time, and she said, I have to quote here, sorry, please listen to me. She says, unless India learns once more to revere her own splendid standards in the arts, she will neither be worthy of Swarajya, nor will she be able to take her rightful place among the nations of the world. So the renaming of Kalakshetra was important, as in this moment, an International Academy of the Arts, which is incorporated into Theosophical Society, becomes Indian, is indigenized, becomes global, right? And this renaming enables Rukmini Devi to conceive Kalakshetra not just as an international, but as a traditional and a regional and a local institution. Distinguished gurus such as Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai, Papanasam Sivam, Kalidas Nilakanta Shastri, Chokkalingam Pillai, Sri Krishna Nair of Kerala, Tiger Varadacharya, M.D. Ramanathan, Mysuru Vasudevacharya, Ambuvanikar, Sharadamma, Gauriamma, and it goes on. You have the books here, Shraddhanjali, that book which brought out all the great teachers who stayed in this kshetram, resided in this field, in this center, and died here. But the kshetram continued in their memory, right? They consented to reside in the new kshetra, Kalakshetra, and impart their skills to a new generation of students enrolled in Kalakshetra institution. And perhaps you could count the students on your fingers at that time, unfamiliar with the traditional cultural knowledges of India or the performing arts. So she asked them to teach their skills, their arts practices, and painting, music, dance, weaving, Sanskrit, Tamil language, dramaturgy, drama, and folk arts, all these were taught. So, going quickly, Indianizers, then the next slide, please. So here then, Arundale comes in again, and he says, okay, so Kalakshetra it is, and then he starts a new movement called Education Without Fear and Art Without Vulgarity. Education Without Fear already is a reference to Tagore's Shantiniketan, started in 1909. And Art Without Vulgarity goes to Isadora Duncan. I'm not going to go into that, the first modern dancer in Europe. So a double movement again, education without fear and art without vulgarity, but it is an international and an Indian movement. And the Arundale's work for this vision, and this is what I want to talk with you today about, the art and education vision. And they raise funding in all those years, and they create an anti-colonial contra modern experiment in the arts. So the next slide, please. Immediately thereafter, she creates Kalakshetra and what I call her sister institutions. The Crafts and Weaving Center joins Memorial School and Kalakshetra, the International Academy of the Arts. The Craft Center, Swaminath Iyer Library, and the Maria Montessori Arundale Teachers Training College. So what do you have here now? You have the Memorial School, Madame Montessori, and Library becoming part of the education vision, and Crafts and Kalakshetra are connected with the arts. In the first decade of the revival in the 1930s, Guru Chokkalingam Pillai and Sri Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai taught dance, Chellappa Iyer taught Mridangam, Pattamangalam Ishwar Iyer taught Veena, Kalidas and Neelakanta Iyer taught music, Alex Almore taught drama, Rajagopal taught painting and sculpture, Arthur Chase voice production. By combining English drama with dance and music, she envisioned a new multicultural urban art and education center of a kind unknown in South India in the 1940s, one in which education, crafts, music, dance, painting, and research were all interwoven to constitute a totality, an interdisciplinary vision. Yeah. And importantly, it's easy to keep telling stories, but importantly, the point I want to pull out is she created two, no, please go back. She created two pedagogies here. One was for the school, for the education school, and another for the Kalakshetra. So you have really two arts pedagogies, right? One connected to education and one connected to Kalakshetra. In the education, in the Theosophical school, the arts education was envisioned to enable creative learning, what we in the West today call participatory learning, and what we use for research in higher education. She envisioned this there, right? So in the schools, art is used for freedom, for expression, for creativity, and participatory learning. And in Kalakshetra, you have the creation of a pedagogy, the constitution of a pedagogy to enable the enunciation of an expert dancer, what we may call a professional dancer, a dancer who will become a teacher like her guru, Sharada Hoffman or, Krishnaveni Lakshman, Dhananjayan sir, his legacy and Chandrasekhar sir, it's all global legacies. So the Kalakshetra dancer, that the student will become this expert, future student who will become a teacher. But there is another arts education, which is where the student is able to use the arts in a very different way, in a broad spectrum way, in a versatile way, right? And that's the vision I think we need to really think about now, because this is consolidated. The Kalakshetra arts vision is consolidated. The next one. In 1942, Rukmini Devi offered Kalakshetra diplomas in dance, music, and painting. she awarded Radha Bharnier, the first president of the Theosophical Society, her own niece, and also the first student of Kalakshetra, with a Kalakshetra diploma. And how she designed this, I can't go into it. I don't have the time now. But all this is available as archival material. In this moment, in 1942, Rukmini Devi gave herself the role of the dancer teacher. She becomes the first dancer teacher and performed what she called the first arangetram, the first arangetral of the Kalakshetra institution. Rukmini Devi was not to know that this institutionalization, with a certificate on the one hand and the arangetram on the other, will become a global way to institutionalize the dance everywhere in the world, right? So in Kalakshetra, the training for the student becomes standardized and institutionalized, and it also becomes pan-Indian. It's also global. So in that moment of 1942 is already the globality of Kalakshetra Bharatanatyam. In 1944, Rukmini Devi affiliated Kalakshetra music courses with the Madras University. 10 years later, she offered short courses for foreign students and part-time courses in music, Bharatanatyam, and painting. So all this is done. All this is done, ready and prepared, ready to go. She still doesn't have as many students as she will have in the later years. So this is all done in this period from 1930 to 1950. And then, of course, we have independence, and then we have the national academies, and they're very important. I think this is the moment, really, when the revival starts of Indian performing arts. So Bharatanatyam, Kathakali, Kathak, all of them are anointed as classical forms, and the revival starts here. Dance scholars will talk about the 1930s, 1940s. All that is changed in the 1950s. Everything, like the Varnam in the Charanam, starts up here. This is the post-colonial generation. This is the startup time for the revival. This is the golden period for Kalakshetra as well. So, but what happens here at this point is that scholars, bureaucrats, statesmen, people, audiences simply start looking at Rukmini Devi's Kalakshetra vision just from the point of view of the Kalakshetra vision, right? Selectively. Think of the elephant, 7 blind men and the elephant. They look at one point of view and say, this is it. This is it. This is Rukmini Devi. And the globality, what she had done with Theosophical Society schools and with Kalakshetra, forgotten, dustbin of history, right? Some see Rukmini Devi primarily as a theosophist, the wife of the Englishman George Arundel, 3rd president of the society, and an advocate for global causes. Others perceived her as an Indian revivalist, a creative artist, attai for her students. Still others perceived her as a national icon, a parliamentarian, a humanist, a philanthropist, an institution builder, and an animal welfarist. If Theosophists honored Rukmini Devi as the leader of the All India and World Federation movement, as one who carried Besant's work in India, the government of India saw her as a visionary institution builder, requested her to lead cultural delegations, right? She's awarded all the awards that you know, the Padma Bhushan, the Sangeet Natak Academy. She's nominated to the legislative, becomes the member of parliament, completes 2 terms. She moves a bill for the prevention of cruelty to animals, receives the Prani Mitra Award, and in 1968. Abroad, the Royal Society of London awards Rukmini Devi the Queen Victoria Medal in 1858, and the Council of the World Federation for the Protection of Animals, The Hague, added her to their roll of honor in 1959. Wayne State University conferred on her an honorary doctorate in humanities, and the county and the city of Los Angeles bestowed on her scrolls of honor in the 1960s. She was also, as we all know, a story we say again and again, she was nominated to be the president of India, and she turns it down. So Rukmini Devi is whatever you want her to be. It's a selective seeing, right? The global work she has done, the global vision she constituted in that period that's already gone into oblivion from 1930s and 1950s has not been researched to date. Next slide. 1950s, as she's really becoming a Devi of a new kind, a national icon in the 1950s and 60s, Kalakshetra has to move to Tiruvanmayur. And you know that story, 13 years of the movement, the transition, the rebuilding of Kalakshetra, the creation of the Besant Arundale environment for Kalakshetra to make the arts relevant again. If she made the arts relevant in 1930s and created an anti-colonial education, again in 1950s, arts have to be relevant to society. Rukmini Devi knew this better than anyone else. So in the 50s, she creates a community. I stayed on Rukmini Devi Street. All the names of the history of that other institution are here now in Tiruvanmayur. Next slide. Now, in the 1970s, Kalakshetra has moved to Tiruvanmayur. That history has been transplanted to Tiruvanmayur. And students from all over India, Tibet, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Burma, Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia come to study in Rukmini Devi Center. International students come from Europe, England, Australia, and America, completing their education. Hundreds of Kalakshetra students turned into qualified teachers, returned to their respective homes and dispersed themselves in the Indian and global diasporas, the South Asian diasporas, and taught and perform and teach Kalakshetra Bharatanatyam in communities everywhere in the world. In London alone, where I teach, there are over 60 flourishing Bharatanatyam dance schools, 350 across the country, at least. And it is not an exaggeration to say that wherever Bharatanatyam is taught in the world today, there Rukmini Devi is, because the pedagogy that she created by associating the dance with Abhinaya Darpanam and with the Gurukul and with an international education is there in the training of Bharatanatyam everywhere in the world. Pushkala Gopal, and I must say this, Pushkala Gopal, who so many of you may know, who is the student of Dhananjayan, and Dhananjayan's legacy is big in the UK. Mowgli, which he did in the 70s, 80s in the UK. I can't go into all those individual legacies, but Pushkala Gopal, who recently received the MBE, student of Dhananjayan's, was involved in the incorporation of Bharatanatyam and Kathak into the Imperial Society of the Teachers of Dance, ISTD it's called, and the standardization of Bharatanatyam begins in 2001 in London, right? And all over the world. But the inspiration for that global institution has already been formulated in the 1940s, consolidated in the 1970s, and Pushkala can rework that in the late 1990s. So we're coming to the end now. So what now? What are the futures for this almost 150 years global arts center? Where to from this place of globality? Where do you go? If you started as a regional small institution, you can go global. But if you already started as a global institution, where do you go, right? I am saying, and this is all for your consideration, Revati, and the chairperson, if he's listening to this talk, there is much potential in the non-expert dance pedagogy, right? That she has created, the invisible, the backstage pedagogy, arts and education that Kalakshetra, the Theosophical School and Arundale students are exposed to, right? We can deploy this. We can take this non-expert pedagogy, foreground it, deploy it to create a global arts and education initiative. and the world university vision that Rukmini Devi wanted to create along with Arundale in 1945. They couldn't do it because Arundale died in 1945. This is an unfinished project, the art and education project. This can be revitalized, made global, right? This can facilitate a research and education exchange with other world art centers. These exchanges will provide sustainability and futures for the arts. Rukmini Devi was always concerned about these issues. And they also provide new career pathways in dance, right? Dance and curation, dance and mental health, dance and Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dance and therapy. We teach all this stuff in the universities. But this pedagogy, where dance and music is more like an embodied practice, it's not expert knowledge, right? This is what we use in higher education. And she had already imagined this, right, in her art and education movement. So dance and museums, right? Dance and ecology, dance and the digital age. We are in the digital age. So all this is possible if we can think about this non-expert dance education that she created as another pedagogy for the dance. Rukmini Devi Kalakshetra cluster institution can be researched comparatively in relation to Tagore Shanti Niketan and Vallathol's Kerala Kalamandalam. In addition, Kalakshetra can be thought and researched cross-culturally in relation to Western institutions, Dartington, Trinity Laban, and Jacobs Fellow. This was a global arts institution in the 1930s. And finally, I want to propose this. I don't know how this will be received. Kalakshetra is truly a historical world institution, a global arts institution. And it can very easily, with effort, of course, become a UNESCO historical site. You see, so that's another future direction for Kalakshetra. So the last slide, we can say that Rukmini Devi's vision was ahead of her time, really, really ahead of her time. She fashioned a pioneering art and education paradigm, including the learning of literature and languages, which prevails in our local and global practices of Bharatanatyam and in the arts globally. She enabled us to think, and I'm going to just say this very simply. She enabled us to think about dance modernism and dance classicism, not as thin replicas of the West, but in which the Euro-American experience, the international inspiration is there, but it's not singular or exemplary. It's simply there. So the International Academy was simply there. It became Kalakshetra, right? So she Indianized. That's her legacy in a sense, right? So Rukmini Devi, and this is my last sentence, Rukmini Devi decolonized the imperial dance lexicon. She seized the key imperial keywords. What are the imperial keywords? These are all English imperial keywords: dance, tradition, classical, modern. They're all imperial keywords. She took all these keywords and she reworked them. She Indianized them by associating these keywords with the modern Gurukul that she imagined and with Maria Montessori education on the other. And she left this as legacy, as a global legacy for us to complete in 2021 and onwards. So on this note, I think I will end my presentation. Thank you.
It's always endearing and a matter of pride to all of us that our beloved Attai, Srimati Rukmini Devi, is perceived with reverence, and her legacy is making waves in the international arena. It reiterates that Atte is a visionary, a legend, an icon, and an inspiration, who was much ahead of her times in both her thoughts and in her art. Thank you, Dr. Avanti Meduri, for giving us such an in-depth view of the global perspective of Kalakshetra legacy and Srimati Rukmini Devi. Thank you very much. May I request our director, Srimati Revati Ramachandran, to felicitate Dr. Avanti Meduri.
Avanti says that she cannot take any questions now because we're running short of time. But anything you would like to talk to her, we'll have another session, an online session probably, when we can converse with her and the students can ask her some questions, whatever they want. So we'll have it very shortly. Thank you all. Thank you so much for being here. We now have the next session. And I want to thank Nandini Naharaj for being the MC for this morning. Thank you.
Next, we will have a Nama Sankirtanam by Udailur, Kalyana Raman and group. Just give us a few minutes as we set the stage. We'll come back to you.
பண்ணிடுறேன். சரி ஒன்று தட்டுங்க.
Namaskaram. As part of Srimati Rukmini Devi's birthday celebrations, next we present Nama Sankirtanam by Udailur Kalyana Ramabhagatar and crew. Udailur Kalyana Ramabhagatar is a contemporary stalwart of the Dakshin Bharatiya Bhajana Sampradaya. He is known for reviving the essence of the form and is committed to the old tradition, Prachina Sankirtanam. He learnt the fundamentals of bhajana from his guru, Ramabhagatar. From both his parents' families, He is associated with distinguished artists like Ayyaswami Bhagavatar and Santana Bhagavatar. He also trained himself through listening and observation. He would travel to every village in the surrounding district and assimilate the culture of devotion, which was kept vibrant by patrons and temples as well as the mathas. His soulful rendition, sonorous voice, clear enunciation, and evocative emotional appeal are some of his prime strengths. Bhagavatar also runs a trust called Bhavata Seva Trust that supports a number of other Bhagavata families who have spent their life in propagating Sampradaya Bhajan. We now present Nama Sankirtanam by Udailur, Kalyana Ramabhagatar and group. I beg your pardon, Udailur, Kalyana Ramabhagatar and group.
ராம ராம உங்களுக்கு காதில் விழுறதா போகிறோம் அதுதான் வேணும். ராம 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 ராம. இந்த ராமராமா சாண்டிங் ராமான்னு சொன்னால் புண்ணியம் உண்டு. அட் த சேம் டைம் ஸ்ருதியோட பாடுறமான்னு நம்மளே டெஸ்ட் பண்ணிக்கிறதுக்கு இந்த ராமநாமா யூஸ் ஆகுது. ராம 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 ஜானகி காந்த ஸ்மரணம் ஜெய ஜெய ராம ராம நம பார்வதி பதயே ஹர ஹர மகாதேவ கோபிகா ஜீவன ஸ்மரணம் கோவிந்தா கோவிந்தா சுவாமி கி ஜெய் ஆஞ்சநேய சுவாமி கி ஜெய். நாராயண நாராயண ஜெய் ஜெய் கோவிந்தா ஹரே நாராயண நாராயண ஜெய ஜெய 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 கோபால ஹரே நாராயண நாராயண ஜெய ஜெய கோபால ஹரே நாராயண நாராயண ஜெய ஜெய கோவிந்தா ஹரே நாராயண நாராயண ஜெய ஜெய கோவிந்தா ஹரே நாராயண நாராயண ஜெய ஜெய கோபால ஹரே நாராயண நாராயண ஜெய ஜெய கோபால ஹரே நாராயண நாராயண ஜெய ஜெய கோவிந்தா ஹரே நாராயண நாராயண ஜெய ஜெய கோவிந்தா ஹரே. जय जानकी रमण जय विभीषण शरण जय सरोरुग चरण जय दीन करुणा जय 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 लोक शरण्य जय भक्त कारुण्य जय व्यलावण्य जय जगत पुण्य जय जय पाप संग विदार पंक्ति मुख संहार श्रीपते सुकुमार सीता विकार जय जय शरणु शरणु सुरेंद्र सन्नुत शरणु श्री सती वल्लभा शरणु राक्षस गर्व संहार शरणु वेंकटनायक स्वामी श्री रघुनायक शरणु शरणु हरे हरे नगल प्रह्लाद बंधु यलबितो विमुखलो भवति మండపము వినవయ్య దేవర వెంకటాచల నాయక విజయ వెంకటనాయక స్వామి శ్రీ రఘునాయక శరణు శరణు హరే హరే పురగర నగధర ముకుంద మాధవ వరుణ రమణ పంకజనాభ దేవ పరమ పురుష భవభంజన కేశవ నరమృగ శరీర నమో నమో దేవ నారాయణ నమో భవ నారద సన్నుత నమో నమో దేవా దేవ సకల గమ పూజిత యాదవ కుల మోహన రూప వేదోత్తర శ్రీ వెంకట నాయక నాద ప్రియతే నమో నమో నారాయణ నమో నమో భవ నారద సన్నుత నమో నమో దేవా నారాయణ నమో నమో దేవేశగణారాధిత దివ్యాంబుజపాల శ్రీ వెంకటగిరి నాయక హెచ్చరిక వెంకటేశాయ చరిక గమనీయ సుకీర్తే అలమేలు మంగ మోగన మూర్తే హెచ్చరిక మోగన మూర్తే హెచ్చరిక రజనీచర వరనాయక కాల వనమాల వ్రజపాల నవర విజయ గోపాల హెచ్చరిక హెచ్చరిక భవతు మధుమూల గోపాల అరవింద లోచన అగ బృంద మోచన సుర బృంద వందిత మంగళం గోపాల భవతు మంగళం వ్రజ సుందరి విలాల విముదేంద్ర పరిపాల విజయ గోపాల బాలమంగళం గోపాల మాధవ భవతు మంగళం గోవింద మాధవ గోపాల కేశవ నరసింహ చ్యుత నారాయణ దశరథ నందన శివ మనోగర దానవ సంహార దయానిధే రామ రాఘవ రాజీవలోచన కామిత ఫలద కరివరద కృష్ణ కేశవ అంబుజలోచన వాంఛిత ఫలద యదు వరద గోవింద గోవింద గోపాల రాధారమణ గోవింద గోవింద గోపాల రాధారమణ గోవింద గోవింద గోపాల రాధారమణ గోవింద గోవింద గోపాల రాధారమణ గోపాల రాధారమణ గోవింద రాధారమణ 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 గోపాల రాధారమణ గోవింద రాధారమణ గోపాల రాధారమణ గోవింద రాధారమణ రాధారమణ గోపికా జీవన స్మరణ గోవింద గోవింద कलेहे दोषनिधे राजन् अस्तिक्येहो महान् गुणः कीर्तनादि एव कृष्णस्य मुक्तबन्ध परं व्रजेत् कलौ कल्मषचित्तानां पापद्रव्योपजीविनां विधिक्रिया विहीनानां गतिः गोविंद कीर्तन. We are all in Kali Yuga, which is the easiest way to get the blessings of Almighty. அப்படின்னா just chant his nama. உங்கள்கிட்ட இன்னொரு பெரிய விசேஷம் கலாக்ஷேத்ரால என்ன விசேஷம்னா விஷ்ணோஹோ கானஞ்ச நிருத்யஞ்ச நடனஞ்ச விசேஷதः. பகவானுக்கு பாட்டா சில பேர் பாடுவா, சில பேர் வாத்தியங்கள் வாசிப்பா, சில பேர் உங்களை மாதிரி இருக்கிறவா நர்த்தனம் பண்ணுவா, சில பேர் சும்மா கேட்டுட்டு இருப்பா. எல்லாத்தையும் விட அதுதான் கஷ்டம். கேட்கறது மாதிரி ஒரு சிரமம். மைக்கு வச்சா எல்லாரும் பாடலாம். கேட்கறதுங்கிறது பகவானுடைய கிருபை இருந்தால் தான் கேட்க முடியும். சத்சங்கத்துவே நிச்சங்கத்துவம்னு ஒரு சத்சங்கத்தை பகவான் கொடுக்குறார். அதுக்கு நம்மெல்லாம் இன்னைக்கு பெரிய we are all very much blessed today. என்ன நாமசங்கீர்த்தனம் நித்தியம் கலி பாதக நாசனம். இந்த நாமாவை சொல்றேன் இந்த நாமாவை சொல்றேன்னு அங்கேயும் இங்கேயும் போறியே, இந்த ஜபம் பண்றேங்கிறியே. ராம மந்திரவே ஜபிசோ மனுஜா, ராம மந்திரவே ஜபிசோ. அவர் மாத்திரம் சொல்றாரா? புரந்தரதாசர் ராமநாமமு ஜன்ம ரக்ஷக மந்திரம். தியாகராஜர் ஓ ராமனி நாமோ எந்த ருச்சிரா. भद्राज रामदासर अंदर राम बाहर राम जहां देखे वहां पूर्ण ही काम, जागत राम सोवत राम सपन में देखत राजा ही राम. कबीर சொல்ற நன்மையும் செல்வமும் நாளும் நல்குமேங்கிறார் கம்பர். யார் வேணும் உங்களுக்கு? நாராயண தீர்த்தர்ங்கிற ஒரு மகான் சொல்றார், கிருஷ்ணலீலா தரங்கினின்னு ஒரு பெரிய நாட்டிய நாடகம், எல்லாமே டான்ஸ் தான். குழந்தை கிருஷ்ணன் பிறந்ததுலேருந்து ருக்மிணி கல்யாணம் வரலையும் 154 கீர்த்தனை பண்ணியிருக்கார். எல்லாம் டான்ஸ் ஆடி இருக்கார் அவர். இவர் மாத்திரம் அபிநயம் பண்ணல, இவர் பாடிண்டே அபிநயம் பண்றார். உள்ள இருக்கிற பெருமாள் காலில் கெஜ்ஜையை கட்டின்னு இவருடைய பாட்டுக்கு அபிநயம் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கார். அப்படின்னா அந்த பாட்டினுடைய நம்மெல்லாம் பாடுறதுனால அந்த பாட்டுக்கு விசேஷம் இல்லை. எல்லா பாட்டுக்கும் அதனுடைய ஸ்வயமாவே இருக்கிற ஒரு அனுகிரக சக்தி இருக்கு. நம்ம பாடுறதுனால நமக்கு அனுகிரகம் கிடைக்கிறது. we are all nothing. அந்த பகவானுடைய நாமத்தை சொல்றதுனால நமக்கு வேல்யூ. நம்மள எல்லாரும் ஒஸ்தியா கொண்டாடுற. 10,000 கீர்த்தனை எழுதினார் ஜெயிலில் இருக்கிறதே பத்ராஜ ராமதாசர். 5 லட்சம் கிருதி பண்ணினார் புரந்தரதாசர். எல்லாத்தையும் பண்ணிட்டு கடைசியில சொன்னார், நேனு ஒந்து அரியதே சுவாமி மந்த மதி நானுன்னார். 5 லட்சம் கீர்த்தனை எழுதுவேன் எவனா சொல்லுவேன் அது மாதிரி ஐ டோன்ட் நோ எனிதிங்னு. 2 கீர்த்தனை எழுதுறதுக்குள்ளே இது பண்ணினது யாருன்னு தெரியுமோன்னு உனக்கு வேணா சொல்லு, எழுதி தரேன். தப்பா எழுதுறதுக்கே இப்படி இருக்கு. அதனால கோபாலகிருஷ்ண பாரதி அவ்வளவு கீர்த்தனை பண்ணினார். அவர் தியாகராஜர்கிட்ட போய் சபாபதிக்கு வேற தெய்வம் சமான கேட்டாரோனோ. அப்பவும் தியாகராஜர் கேட்டார், நீங்க யாருன்னதுக்கு என்ன தெரியாத, ஓய் நான் கோபாலகிருஷ்ண பாரதி எத்தனை பாட்டு பாடியிருக்கேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்லலை அவர். கோபாலகிருஷ்ண பாரதின்னு ஒருத்தர் தெரியுமா உனக்கு? உங்களுக்கு தெரியுமா? ஆனந்த தாண்டவத்தில் இருந்தாராமே தாசன அடியேன் கோபாலகிருஷ்ண பாரதியினர். அப்படி தன்னை உருகி தன்னை டெடிகேட் பண்ணி லைஃப் பூரா அந்த நம்ம கலாச்சாரத்தை, நம்ம இந்த நாட்டியம் நாடகம் பாட்டு பக்கவாத்தியம் வாசிக்கிறது எல்லாமே பகவானால் கொடுக்கப்பட்டது. அதுவும் எங்களுக்கு என்ன ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம்னா, இதோட க்ளோஸ்லி அசோசியேட்டடாக இருக்கிற உங்களை மாதிரி இருக்கிறவாள்கிட்ட வந்து நாம சங்கீர்த்தனம் பண்ணுறது எங்களுக்கு ஒரு பெரிய பெருமை. ஏன்னா இட் ஹேஸ் டு பி ப்ரிசர்வ்டு ஃபார் தி நெக்ஸ்ட் ஜெனரேஷன். நாம சங்கீர்த்தனம் இஸ் நாட் அன் என்டர்டெயின்மெண்ட். இதோ பொழுது போல் 2 மணி நேரம் வேணால் பஜனைக்கு போயிட்டு வரலாமே, அது அப்படி இல்லை. நம்ம பொழுது சொச்ச நாள் நன்னா போகிறதுக்காக தான் பஜனை. அதனால ஒரு 5 நிமிஷம் உட்காந்துக்கோங்கிறார். அதுக்காக 5 நிமிஷம் கழிச்சு கிளம்பிடாதீங்க. அவர் சொல்றார், துக்காராம் சொல்றார், அவகிஞ்ச தீர்த்த गटली एक वेला चंद्रभागा डोला देख लिया 5 நிமிஷம் உட்கார் மராட்டியில 5 நிமிஷம் உட்காருங்க போறோங்க 5 நிமிஷம் உட்கார்ந்தா என்ன பண்ணும்னா பஜனை முடிகிற வரலையும் ஏந்திருக்கணும்னு தோணாதான். நாட் பிகாஸ் ஆஃப் தி ஆர்டிஸ்ட், அந்த நாம சங்கீர்த்தனத்தினுடைய இருக்க கீர்த்தனுடைய வேல்யூ நம்மளை உட்கார வைக்கும். ஜென்ம ஜென்மாந்திரத்தில் காப்பாற்றுறது எது இதானே. அதனால இன்னைக்கு நமக்கு பெரிய பாக்கியம். தோடையமங்கலத்திலேருந்து அதுக்கு தான் ஆரம்பித்தேன். தோடையமங்கலம் தான் உங்களுக்கு, நீங்கள் தோடையமங்கலம் ஆடி பாடி தான் அந்த அபிநயமாக ஆரம்பிப்பேள். அதனால் நமக்கு ஒரு பெரிய பாக்கியம். பஜனை சம்பிரதாயத்தில் முதல்ல தோடையமங்கலத்தை வச்சார். அதில் ஒன்றுலையும் 10 சரணம் இருக்குது. எல்லாத்தையும் பாடலைனா பாடினா நாளைக்கு தான் பஜனை முடியும். அதுக்கப்புறம் குரு கீர்த்தனை. ஆஸ் வி ஹாவ் ட்ரினிட்டிஸ் இன் இந்தியன் கிளாசிக்கல் மியூசிக், வி ஹாவ் ட்ரினிட்டிஸ் இன் நாம சங்கீர்த்தனம் ஆல்சோ. ஃபஸ்ட்டு குரு பகவன் நாம போதேந்திராள்னு, அடுத்தது ஸ்ரீதர ஐயாவாள், அடுத்தது மருதானல்லூர் சத்குரு சுவாமிகள். இந்த 3 குரு கீர்த்தனை, ஒரு அஷ்டபதி எல்லாம் கலந்து 11:30 மணி வரலையும் பகவானுடைய கிருபையில், மேக்சிமம் ஒரு 10 நிமிஷம் 11:40 வரலையும் பகவானுக்கு அர்ப்பணம் பண்ணணும்னு பிரார்த்திச்சுக்கிறோம். நீங்கள்லாம் இருந்து சிரவணம் பண்ணி பகவானுடைய கிருபையை அடையணும். त्वत्पादाब्जयुगं सुगन्धि तुलसी तुलसी लोभात् भजन्तोऽप्यघो योगी प्रार्थ्य गतिं योगी प्रार्थ्य गतिं प्रयान्ति मधुपाः यद्भक्तिहीनास्त्वदग अभक्षाग पवनाशिनोऽपि मुनयः संसारचक्रे वृषं भ्राम्यन्ते गता गतै इह मुहुः तस्मै नमो विष्णवे तस्मै नमो विष्णवे सतमनी प्रणुतिं बोचोनो ओ सखियरो यानिंदु कानेनु मदिकलयति नाम त्रिपुलकु श्री बोधेन्द्रुले सतमनी नाम कीर्तनमु उदरिंबक नलुववेल्नुडे पेशुडुल ఒకటియై భూమిలో బోధేంద్ర కుములని పేరు కొన్న శ్రీ భూదేంద్రులై శతమని రామ నామము మిల్చ చేసిన రసికత ప్రబోధమూర్తి భూమిలో భూదేంద్ర కుములని పేరు కొన్న శ్రీకృష్ణుడు తలచి శతమని ప్రణుదింబుచును ఓ సఖియరు ధ్యానిందు గానము. భజరే మానస బోధేంద్రం భవాబ్ధితరణం దేశికేంద్రం
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 భజరే మానస బోధేంద్రం భవాబ్ధితరణం దేశికేంద్రం.
సద్గురు స్వామినః
జై.
ஸ்ரீகண்டமிவ பாஸ்வந்தம். பஜன சம்பிரதாயத்தினுடைய ஸ்ட்ரக்சர் ஆஃப் நாம சங்கீர்த்தனம் ஒரு ஸ்லோகம், ஒரு கீர்த்தனை, ஒரு நாமாவளி. அன்னைக்கே சொன்னேன் வாரத்தில். ஸ்லோகம் பாடும் பொழுது அதில் இந்த ராக பாவத்தை ரசிக்கிறவா இருப்பா. கீர்த்தனை பாடும் பொழுது மிருதங்கத்தோடு ரசிக்கிறவா இருப்பா. நாமாவளி மாத்திரம் நம்ம திருப்பி சொல்லலான்னு இருக்கிறவா அவளுக்கும் சான்ஸ். ஸோ எவ்ரிபடி வில் கெட் சான்ஸ். இதை மீறி ஒன்றும் பண்ண மாட்டேன்னு சொல்லுவாள், ஒருத்தரும் ஒன்றும் பண்ண முடியாது. ஸ்ரீகண்டமிவ பாஸ்வந்தம் சிவநாம பராயணம் சிவநாம 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 பராயணம் ஸ்ரீ ஸ்ரீதரம் வெங்கடேஷார்யம் ஸ்ரேயசே குருமாஸ்ரயே ஸ்ரீதரம் வெங்கடேஷார்யம் ஸ்ரேயசே குருமாஸ்ரயே எல்லாமே தெலுங்கு பாட்டு. அதில் விசேஷம் குருவனுடைய கிருபை இருந்தால் நமக்கு எல்லாமே கிடைக்கும்னு சொல்ற பாட்டு. குருமூர்த்தி பாதமுல గురుదుగా ధ్యానించి స్థిరమైన సుఖము పొందేదను. హరిగరులు ఇరువరులు ఒకరనుచు భక్తియు సేయ నరరూపమైన శ్రీధర వెంకటేశ్వర శ్రీధర గురుమూర్తి పదములే ధ్యానించి స్థిరమైన సుఖము రామనామమున అనురాగము పుట్టిల్చి ప్రేమతో తమ భక్తి కేయునికి మరగనీటి మధుర క్షణమే తారకమణి మహిమ తెలిపి నన్ను రక్ష
చించిన
శ్రీధర గురుమూర్తి పదములే ధ్యానించి స్థిరమైన సుఖము శృతి ధర్మశాస్త్ర సమ్మతిని హరినామమే గతియనుచు
కూటమకు గ్రంథములు చేసిన అధులి దుడు శ్రీ వెంకటార్యుడేనే జయు
కృతిలోనుగా
గోపాల
కృష్ణుడై
తోచిన శ్రీధర గురుమూర్తి పదములే
స్థిరమైన సుఖము శంభో శంభో శంకర సాంబ సదా శివ
శంభో శంభో శంకర సాంబ సదా శివ.
Who are all interested, you can repeat after me. I think everybody is interested. பாடுறவா ஆடுறவெல்லாம் லஜ்ஜையை விட்டுடணும், கஜ்ஜையை கட்டிக்கணும். புரந்தரதாசர் தான் சொல்றாரு, கஜ்ஜையை நீ கட்டிவிட்டேன்னா லஜ்ஜையை விட்டுருங்க. பக்கத்தில் இருக்கிறவா எங்கேயா சிரிப்பாளோ, நேற்று வரலையும் நல்லா தான் இருந்தார் வேறு, இது என்ன பின்னாடியே பாடிட்டு இருக்கு, 2 கண்டானா இருக்கு, சொல்லிட்டு போட்டோமேங்கிறேன். ஜென்மாபூரம் நம்ம இப்படியே இருக்கும்னு பகவான் பிரார்த்தனை. எத்தனை பேருக்கு இந்த மாதிரி கலாட்சேத்திரால வந்து நம்ம பாரம்பரிய சங்கீதத்தையும் நாட்டியத்தையும் சொல்லிக்கக்கூடிய பாக்கியம் எத்தனை பேருக்கு பகவான் கொடுத்துருக்காரு இல்லையா? உங்க அம்மா அப்பா எல்லாம் பண்ணின புண்ணியம், நீங்களாம் பண்ணின புண்ணியம், நமக்கு இந்த மாதிரி கலாச்சாரம் நமக்கு கிடைச்சிருக்கு. யாருக்கு ஒரு நாக்கில் ஒரு வார்த்தை சொல்லிட முடியுமா, பாடிட முடியுமா சுதி சுத்தமா தாளத்தோட? அதுக்கு நடராஜனுடைய கிருபை வேணும். ஏன்னா அவர்கிட்டேருந்து தான் வந்தது வார்த்தைகள்லாம். ஒரு அபிநயம் பண்ணும் பொழுதும் ஒரு வார்த்தைகள் வந்தது. அதனால தான் நம்ம ஆவணி ஆவட்டத்தெல்லாம் சொல்றது, அன்னைக்கு மாத்திரம் சொல்ற வழக்கம், அதுக்கப்புறம் சொல்றது இல்லை. அந்த மந்திரங்கள்லாம் வாத்தியார் சொல்லுவார், எங்கேருந்து வந்தது, அல்பபெட்டிக்கல் ஆர்டர்ல சொல்றமே, அந்த அல்பபெட்ஸ் எல்லாம் வந்தது பூரா நடராஜர்லேருந்து. அவர் தான் தமிழை வளர்த்தவர் உண்மையா, அங்கேருந்து வந்தது தான் எல்லாம். அதனால நம்ம நாமாவளி திருப்பி சொன்னா அவர் சந்தோஷப்படுவார். சம்போ சம்போ, அது வேற ஏதாவது ஜாப்பனீஸ் லாங்குவேஜ்ல இருந்தா ஐயோ இது என்ன ஜாப்பனீஸ்ல பாடுறாரே, ரிப்பீட் பண்ண முடியாது. எவ்ரிபடி நோஸ் திஸ் லாங்குவேஜ். शंभो शंभो शंकरा सांब सदा शिवा.
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 चंद्रकलाधरा उमा महेश्वरा.
चंद्रकलाधरा उमा महेश्वरा.
चंद्रकलाधरा उमा महेश्वरा.
चंद्रकलाधरा उमा महेश्वरा.
शंभो शंभो शंकरा सांब सदा शिवा.
शंभो शंभो शंकरा सांब सदा शिवा.
कैलासवास कनक सभेश.
कैलासवास कनक सभेश.
गौरी मनोहरा श्री विश्वेश.
गौरी मनोहरा श्री विश्वेश.
गौरी मनोहरा श्री विश्वेश.
गौरी मनोहरा श्री विश्वेश.
शंभो 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 शंकरा सांब सदा शिवा.
शंभो 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 शंकरा सांब सदा शिवा. सांब सदा शिवा. सांब सदा शिवा.
नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव. यस्यांगम மொத்தம் 3 குரு. நம்ம கிளாசிக்கல் மியூசிக்கில் இருக்காப்புல இந்த 3 குருல முதல்ல பகவன் நாம போதேந்திரர். He belongs to காஞ்சி காமகோட்டி பீட்டம். He was a சன்னியாசி. சன்னியாசியா இருந்தாலும் அவர் சொன்னார், just chant ராமநாமா, that will save you. Chanting ராமநாமா is enough in கலியுகா. இப்ப பாடினுமே அவர் பேர் ஸ்ரீதர ஐயாவாள்னு பேரு. அவர் சொன்னார், சிவான்னு சொல்லு போறோம். சிவ சிவான்னு இருக்குன்னு சொல்ல மாட்டோமா, நம்ம சும்மாவே இருக்க மாட்டேங்கிறானே, சிவ சிவான்னு இருக்கக்கூடாது, இந்த சிவான்னு சொன்னாலே போறோம்னார். இப்ப அடுத்ததா பாட போறது சத்குரு சுவாமிகள்னு ஒருத்தர். He is the pioneer of Nama Sankirtanam. He is the authority who traveled all over India and collected so many compositions from various great composers, irrespective of regional language differences, and made a syllabus that is called Sampradaya Bhajan. அவர் தான் பண்ணினார். தாளப்பாக்கத்தில் போய் சின்னையா அன்னையா பாகவதர்கிட்டேருந்து இந்த தோடைமங்கலத்தை அவர் தான் கொண்டு வந்தார். கிந்து பில்வம் போனார், ஒரிசால அஷ்டபதியை கொண்டு வந்தார். அந்த அஷ்டபதியில் அங்கே நார்த் இந்தியன் ஸ்டைலில் இருக்கும் ராகம், அப்படியே இங்கே மாத்தினார். அந்த சிச்சுவேஷனுக்கு தகுந்தாப்புல ராகத்தை போட்டார். அப்படியே மனசு உருகிறார். ராதையை விட்டு, இந்த உங்களுக்கெல்லாம் புரியுமே, நாயக நாயகி பாவத்தில் தன்னை விட்டு பிரிஞ்சிருக்கிற கிருஷ்ணனை விட்டு ராதை அப்படியே உருகிறாங்கிற போது மத்தியமாவதி பாடினா நல்லா இருக்குமா? ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமா இருக்கிற ஆயிடுமே. அத்ர அந்தர சகுலடாகுல வர்த்மகாத சஞ்சாத பாதக இவ ஸ்புடலஞ்சன ஸ்ரீ பிருந்தாவனந்தரம் அதீபயத் அம்சுஜ திக்சுந்தரி சுந்தரி வதன சந்தன பிந்து இந்து. பேர்பட்ட ஸ்லோகம். அவ அங்க அந்த ராகத்துல பாடி இருக்க மாட்டா. சத்குரு சுவாமி போட்டார் இந்த சிச்சுவேஷன் விரக தாபம். நிந்ததி சந்தனம் இந்து கிரணம் அனுவிந்ததி கேதமதி கரளமிவ கலயதி மலய சமீரம் சாவிரகே தவ தீன. அப்படி டியூன் பண்ணார் அவர். இதெல்லாம் நமக்கு ஒரு சிலபஸ் கொடுத்தது சத்குரு சுவாமிகள். நிறைய பேருக்கு தெரிஞ்சிருக்கும், தெரியாத வாழ்க்கை ஒரு அவேர்னஸ் கிரியேட் பண்றதுக்காக நான் சொல்றேன். அது டெமான்ஸ்ட்ரேஷன் கம் கான்செப்ட் மாதிரி இருந்தாலும் பரவாயில்ல, நெக்ஸ்ட் ஜெனரேஷனுக்கு இது என்னன்னு தெரியணும். தட்ஸ் மோர் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். மொனாட்டனஸாக கீர்த்தனை பாடிட்டு போகிறது பெருசு இல்லை, அது என்னன்னு புரியாமல் பாடிட்டே இருக்கிறதுல என்ன அர்த்தம் இருக்கு? ஏதோ 2 மணி நேரம் பாடினார், 1.5 மணி நேரம் ஒன்றுமே புரியலன்னு கடைசியில் சொல்றதுக்கு. அந்த அஷ்டபதியில் அவ்வளவு சொல்லியிருக்கார் அவர். அந்த சத்குரு சுவாமி மேல கீர்த்தனை. யஸ்யாங்கம் கனகாபகாம சத்ரிஷம் பாலம் பாலம் திரிபுண்ட்ராங்கிதம் வாணி 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 ஸ்ரீ ரகுநாத நாம சுதயாபி ஆர்த்ரா சக்ருதி தாரயா சேதஸ்யம்புஜலோச்சனு அம்புஜலோச்சனோ யதுபதிஹி கேலதி अलम्राधया तं वेङ्कटरामदेशिकवरं सर्वात्मनागं भजे भजे सद्गुरुं अनिशं भजे सद्गुरु तेजसाब्जहितकरतुल्यं
दिव्य भव्य गुण परिपूर्णं
राजशेखर
विवस्थितमखिलोद्धरण निमित्तं भुवमवतीर्णं
भजे सद्गुरु अनिशं भजे सद्गुरु नन्दराक्ष तुलसीमालं
तलं पिता अक्षय पात्रं
करवीनं सुविशालवक्षसं कनकनिबन्धं मृदुधरगात्रं भजे सद्गुरु अनिशं भजे सद्गुरु तलम्बिनामां सुख अवेष्टितशिरसं बहुसरसं कुण्डालिकवरनाशकपोलं कुण्डलीकनयनं मृदुहासं भजे सद्गुरु अनिशं भजे सद्गुरु इन्द्रबिम्ब समसुच्छत्रं नन्दनीय मद्दळगानं सुन्दर चामर खेदन काञ्चन दण्डधारि सन्नुददामानं भजे सद्गुरु अनिशं भजे सद्गुरु
विष्णु विदीस
स्वरूपिणं विज्ञानद पादुक चरणं कृष्ण पदाम्बुज भंबर राधा कृष्ण दासवर मानस सदनं भजे सद्गुरु अनिशं भजे सद्गुरु सद्गुरो पाहि मां परमदयाळो पाहि मां
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 परमदयाळो पाहि मां
सद्गुरो पाहि मां परमदयाळो पाहि
सद्गुरो पाहि मां परमदयाळो पाहि मां
पाहि मां परमदयाळो पाहि
सद्गुरो पाहि मां परमदयाळो पाहि मां
सद्गुरु स्वामिनः
जय
இந்த பாட்டுக்கு அர்த்தத்தை சொன்னாலே 1 மணி நேரம் ஆயிடும். 1000 சிஷ்யாவா எல்லாருக்கும். சத்குரு சுவாமிகளுக்கு he had more than 1000 disciples. அவ எல்லாரும் பின்னாடி சுவாமிகளோட பாடின்னு வந்திருக்கா. பகவன் நாமத்தினுடைய பெருமையை சொல்றார். ததன்னா नाम जपन क्यों छोड़ दिया
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 क्रोध न छोड़ झूठ न छोड़ा
क्रोध न छोड़ा झूठ न छोड़ा
सत्य वचन क्यों छोड़ दिया
सत्य वचन क्यों छोड़ दिया
नाम जपन क्यों छोड़ दिया
हरि नाम जपन क्यों छोड़ दिया
जग में झूठे जग में दिल ललचा करे,
झूठे जग में दिल ललचा कर,
झूठे जग में दिल ललचा,
झूठे जग में दिल ललचा कर,
सत्य वचन क्यों छोड़ दिया,
सत्य वचन क्यों छोड़ दिया, नाम जबन क्यों
छोड़ दिया,
हरि नाम जबन क्यों छोड़ दिया।
काली सीख, काली सीख भगवान भरोसे,
काली सीख भगवान भरोसे,
काली सीख भगवान भरोसे,
काली सीख भगवान भरोसे,
तन मन धन क्यों न छोड़ दिया,
तन मन धन क्यों न छोड़ दिया,
नाम जपन क्यों
छोड़ दिया, हरि नाम जपन क्यों छोड़ दिया।
हरि 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 स्मरण करो,
हरि 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 स्मरण करो,
हरि चरण कमल ध्यान करो,
हरि चरण कमल ध्यान करो,
मुरहरि माधव सेवा करो,
मुरहरि माधव सेवा करो,
मुकुंद गिरिधारी भजन करो,
मुकुंद गिरिधारी भजन करो,
ध्यान करो भजन करो,
ध्यान करो भजन करो,
सेवा करो मरण करो,
सेवा करो भजन करो,
हरि 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 स्मरण करो,
हरि 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 स्मरण करो,
हरि चरण कमल ध्यान करो,
हरि चरण कमल ध्यान करो।
पतित पावन भगवन नाम की जय। श्री गोपाल विलासिनी अष्टपदी। वलय सत्रत्नादि उदाकृति श्री राधापति पाद पद्म भजनानंदाब्धिमग्नः अनिशं लोके सत्कविराज राजयिति यः ख्यातः दयाम्बो निधिः तं वन्दे जयदेव सद्गुरुवरं पद्मावती वल्लभो रे। अत्र अंतरे च कुलठाकुल वर्त्मगादे जनरला विद्वान्गள்லாம் யாரோ கழிப்பு விட்டா, யார் சொன்னான்னு தெரியல. அந்த நாள்லயே காலம்பர வேளையில் ஆகிரி பாடினெல்லாம் சாப்பாடு கிடைக்காது. நாங்களும் 45 வருஷமா வடை பாயசத்தும் சாப்பிட்டு இருக்கோம், காலம்பரம் தான் பாடிட்டு இருக்கோம். அதை என்ன சொல்லியிருக்கணும், சரியா பாடலைன்னா கிடைக்காதுன்னு சொல்லியிருக்கணும். எல்லா ராகமும் ராக தேவதைகள் தானே. அந்த தேவதா மூர்த்தி நமக்கு அனுகிரகம் பண்ணிவிட்டானா அதை விட என்ன வேணும்? இதுல ஒஸ்தி அது மட்டம்னு சொல்றதுக்கு என்ன இருக்கு? நமக்கு என்ன தெரியும்? நம்ம புரந்தரதாசரா? புரந்தரதாசரே நேனு ஒன்று அறியது ஒன்று அறியதேங்கிறார். அத்திர அந்தரே சகுலடா குலவர்த்மகாத சஞ்சாத பாதக இவ ஸ்புடலஞ்சன ஸ்ரீ பிருந்தாவனந்தரம் அதீபயத் அம்சுஜாலைஹி திக்சுந்தரி வதன சந்தன பிந்துகு இந்துகு. அதுக்காக அவர் போட்டார், எங்க இந்த மாதிரி களைப்பு விட்டானேன்னு ஆகிரின்னு போட்டு அந்த ஒரிஜினல் புஸ்தகத்தை பார்த்தேன்னா ஒரு கோடு பார் போட்டு நீலாம்பரின்னு போட்டிருக்கோம். இன்னும் 2 ஸ்லோகம் இருக்கு. என் மத்தியான சாப்பாடு கிடைக்காம போட போறதுன்னு பிரசரதி சதர பிம்பே விகித விளம்பேச்ச மாதவே விதுரா விரச்சித விவித விநாபம் சா சா பரிதாபம் சா பரிதாபம் சக்கார உச்சை கதித சமயேபி ஹரிகிய ககன யௌவனௌ மம விபலம் இதமமல ரூபமபி யௌவனௌ யாமிஹே கமிஹ சரணௌ சகி ஜன வச்சன யதனுகமனாய நிஷி ககனமபிஜீவிதம் தேன மம ஹிருதயமிதம் அசமசரது யாமிஹே மம மரணமேவ வரம் அதிவிதத கேதனா கிமிதி விஷஹாமி விரஹானலம் அச்சேதனா யாமிஹே கம் இஹ சரணம்
பகக கலயாமி
மலயாதி
மணிபூஷணு ஹரி பகுதூஷணு யாமிஹே மாமிகி விதுரயதி மதுர மதுயாமினி காபி ஹரிமனுபவதி கிருத சுகிருத காமனு யாமிஹே கமிக சரணௌ குசும
சுகுமாரதனும் அசமசரலீல लीलया
स्वगमिति औदिमा
அதிவிஷம
शीलया मिग
அமிக சரணம்
अगमिग बिलि वसामि नभिघनित वेद सास्वर मधुसूदनो माम बीन चेतसायमिग अमिग शरणौ हरिचरण
शरण जय देव कवि
वसतु हृदीव कोमल
कलावतीयामिगे कविग शरणं सखी जन वचन वंजित गौ यामिगे कृष्ण भजो मुरली गोपाल भजो
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 श्याम गोपाल 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 भजो मुरली गोपाल भजो
गिरिधारी श्याम भजो राधे गोविंद भजो
गिरिधारी श्याम भजो राधे गोविंद भजो
श्याम भजो राधे गोविंद भजो
गिरिधारी श्याम भजो राधे गोविंद भजो
राधे गोविंद भजो
राधे गोविंद भजो
मधुवन संचारी श्याम गोपाल भजो
मधुवन संचारी श्याम गोपाल भजो
मधुवन संचारी श्याम गोपाल
मधुवन संचारी श्याम गोपाल भजो कृष्ण भजो
मुरली गोपाल भजो
कृष्ण भजो मुरली गोपाल भजो
कृष्ण भजो मुरली गोपाल भजो
कृष्ण भजो मुरली गोपाल भजो
श्याम सुंदर लाल की
जय
இன்னும் ரெண்டு பாட்டு विक्रेतु कामा किल गोपकन्या विक्रेतु कामा किल गोपकन्या मुरारी मुरारी पादार्पित चित्तवृत्ति दद्यादिकं मोहवशात् अवोचत् गोविंद गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति கிருஷ்ணலீலா தரங்கினியில அதி அற்புதமான கீர்த்தனை. கோபிகா ஸ்திரீகள்லாம் கூடையில வெண்ணையை வச்சுன்னு வியாபாரம் பண்ண போனவாள்லாம் வெண்ணையை மறந்துட்டு கோவிந்தா கோவிந்தான்னு சொல்றான். விக்ரேது காமாகில கோபகன்யா முராரி முராரி பாதார்ப்பித சித்தவருத்தி தத்யாதிகம் மோகவசாத்து அவோச்சது கோவிந்த தாமோதரமா. தலையில வெண்ணெய் கூடைய வச்சுட்டு வெண்ணையோ வாங்கலையோ வெண்ணைன்னு விற்கிறதுக்கு பதிலா கோவிந்தன் வாங்கலையோ கோவிந்தன், கிருஷ்ணன் வாங்கலையோ கிருஷ்ணன், தாமோதரன் வாங்கலையோ அப்படின்னா என்ன பிரேம. அப்பேற்பட்ட கிருஷ்ணன் எல்லாருக்கும் நித்திய ஆனந்தத்தை கொடுக்கட்டும், ஹாப்பினஸை கொடுக்கட்டும்னு சொல்றார். பால கோபால கிருஷ்ணா பாகி பாகி,
बाल गोपाल कृष्ण पाहि पाहि, நீலமேக ಶರೀರ ನಿತ್ಯಾನಂದಂ ದೇಹಿ ಬಾಲಗೋಪಾಲ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಪಾಗಿ ಪಾಗು ಪಾಗಿ ಕಳಬ ಸುಂದರ ಗಮನ ಕಸ್ತೂರಿ ಶೋಭಿತಾನನ ನಳಿನ ದಳಾಯತ ನಯನ ನಂದ ನಂದನ ಮಿಳಿತ ಗೋಪ ವಧೂಜನ ಮಿನಂಗ ಕೋಟಿ ಮೋಹನ ಲಲಿತ ಸಂಸಾರ ಬಂಧನ ದಾರುಣ ವೈರಿ ನಾಶನ ಬಾಲ ಗೋಪಾಲ ಪಾಗಿ ಪಾಗು ಯಜ್ಞ ಸಂರಕ್ಷಣ ಯಾದವ ವಂಶಾಭರಣ ಯಜ್ಞ ಫಲ ವಿಧರಣ ಯಮಿ ಜನ ಶರಣ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ ಗಣ ಸಮೀರಣ ಅಖಿಲ ಲೋಕೈಕ ಕಾರಣ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ಧಳಿತಾವರಣ ವೇದಾಂತ ವಾಕ್ಯ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ ಬಾಲ ಗೋಪಾಲ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಪಾಗಿ ಪಾಗು ಯದ್ಯಸ್ತ ಪಾದಾರವಿಂದ ವಿಶ್ವವಂದಿತ ಮುಕುಂದ ಸತ್ಯಾನಂದ ಬೋಧಾನಂದ ಸದ್ಗುಣ ಬೃಂದ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಕ್ಷಮಿದ ವೇದಗಂಧ ನಿತನಂದ ಸುನಂದ ನಿತ್ಯದ ನಾರಾಯಣ ತೀರ್ಥ ನಿರ್ಮಲಾನಂದ ಗೋವಿಂದ ಬಾಲ ಗೋಪಾಲ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಪಾಗಿ ಪಾಗು ಮೇಘ ಶರೀರ ನಿತ್ಯ ಆನಂದ ಬಾಲ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಪಾಹಿ ನಿತ್ಯಾನಂದಂ ದೇಹಿ राधा कृष्ण गोपाल कृष्ण 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 ஒரு சிவ கீர்த்தனை முடிச்சு சிதம்பரம் சிதம்பரம் இதி ப்ரூயாத் சக்ருதி ஜனன வர்ஜிதம் முக்தி கண்டாரவ பதம் மோக்ஷயேவ ந சம்சயः தடித்த ஓர் மகனை தந்தை ஈண்டடித்தால் தாய் அணைப்பள் தாய் அடித்தால் பிடித்தொரு தந்தை அணைப்பள் இங்கு எனக்கு பேசிய தந்தையும் தாயும் பொடி திருமேனி அம்பலத்தாடும் புனிதா நீராதலால் புனிதா நீராதலால் எனக்கு தந்தையும் தாயும் நீராதலால் என்னை அடித்தது போதும் அணைத்திடல் வேண்டும் அம்மையப்பா நீ ஆற்றேன் இனிய ஆற்றேன் அம்மையப்பா இனியாற்றேன் கல்லேன் மனக்கருங்கல்லேன் கருத்தறிய பொல்லேன் பொய் வாஞ்சித்த புல்லேன் இரக்கம் பொறை சிறிதும் இல்லேன் எனினும் நின்பாலன்றி மற்ற இடத்தே செல்லேன் வைத்தியநாதா வைத்தியநாதா புள்ளிருக்கு வேளூர் வாழ் வைத்தியநாதா அமரர் சிகாமணியே நம்ம கலாட்சேத்திரால உட்காந்து 10 பைசா செலவு இல்லாம வைத்தீஸ்வரன் கோயிலுக்கும் சிதம்பரத்துக்கும் போயிட்டு வந்துட்டோம். அத்தி அற்புதமான கீர்த்தனை. எத்தனை தடவை பாடினாலும் அது மனசுலயே இருந்துட்டு இருக்கோன்னு அங்கே வாத்திலையும் பாடினேன். இந்த கலாட்சேத்திராக்கு பொருத்தமான பாட்டு. கனக சபை திரு நடனம் கண்டு கழித்து ஆனந்தம் அடைந்தேனர்.
அப்படியே ஒரு மினி கைலாசத்தை கொண்டு நிறுத்தி விட்டார் சிதம்பரத்தில். சிதம்பரத்தில் நிறுத்தி விட்டார் பரமேஸ்வரன் நடராஜா. யாருக்கு? நந்தனாருக்கு. நந்தனார் மாதிரி ஒரு பக்தன் உலகத்தில் பார்க்க முடியுமா? இதுல ஏது ஜாதி ஏது மதம்? மதமான பேய் பிடியாது இருக்க வேண்டும் அவர் வள்ளலார். அப்படி வந்து நின்னார். கேட்கிறார் அவரை பார்த்து, இவ்வளவு அழகா இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு பக்தி நான் பார்த்ததே கிடையாது அப்பா நந்தா, வாட் யூ வாண்ட், உனக்கு என்ன வேணும்னு. நம்மளா இருந்தா லிஸ்ட் ரெடி வச்சுட்டு இருப்போம், நம்ம போய் பகவானை கேட்போம். பகவான் கேட்கிறார் உனக்கு வேணும்னு. இவர் எதாவது கேட்கக்கூடாதோ? லேட்டஸ்ட் காரு, திருவான்மூரில் நல்ல ஒரு ஃப்ளாட்டு, இதாக கேட்கல. அவர் என்ன கேட்டார் தெரியுமோ? எனக்கு ஒன்றுமே வேண்டாம் பரமேஸ்வரா, நீயே என்கிட்ட இருக்கிறதே எந்த அசலாவது மறுபடியும் எதாவது கேட்குமா? எல்லாமாக இருக்கக்கூடிய நீயே என்னோட இருக்கியே, என்ன வேணும்னு கேளு. வேண்டான்னார். போதும் போதும் ஐயா எடுத்த ஜன்மம், போதும் போதும் ஐயா எடுத்த ஜன்மம். போரும் ஐயா, பிறந்தா இந்த மாதிரி சங்கீதம் தெரிஞ்ச வாழ்கிட்ட பிறக்கணும், அந்த அசோசியேஷன் இருக்கணும். ஒண்ணுமே இல்லாத ரெண்டு கண்டான்ட்ட போய் மாட்டிண்டு சொன்னாலும் புரியாது, அவனுக்கும் புரியாது, தானாவும் புரியாது. இதை ரசிக்கக்கூடிய பாக்கியம், இதை அனுபவிக்கக்கூடிய பாக்கியம் யாருக்கு கிடைக்கும்னா லோகத்துல அவெல்லாம் ஸ்பெஷல் கேட்டகரிஸ். நம்ம ரொம்ப பெருமையா சொல்லிக்கலாம், பகவான்லாம் நமக்கு ஸ்பெஷலா அனுகிரகம் பண்ணியிருக்கார் கலாட்சேத்திரால இருக்குமே இல்லையா? அதனால அப்படி பரமேஸ்வரன் தரிசனம் கொடுத்தார் நந்தனாருக்கு. கைலாசத்திலேருந்து வந்து பக்கத்தில் பார்வதி, நந்தி, பிருங்கி எல்லாருடைய கனக சபை திருநடனம் கண்டு களி தானந்தமடைந்த கனக சபை திருநடனம் கண்டு களி தானந்தமடைந்த கனக சனந்தன முனிவர்கள் பாட சதுர்முக வேதனும் தாளங்கள் போட முனிவர்கள் பாட சதுர்முக வேதனும் தாளங்கள் போட தினமும் 3000 பேர்களும் கூட தினமும் 3000 பேர்களும் கூட தக்கிட தையத்தி தை தித்தோ தித்தோ தக்கிட தையத்தி தை தித்தோ தித்தோ என்று கனக சபை திருநடனம் கண்டு களி தானந்தமடைந்த கனக சபை. நந்தி பிருங்கி சிவகணங்கள் கொண்டாட 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 நாரதர் தும்புருவும் சங்கீதம் பாட நாரதர் தும்புரு சங்கீதம் போட பந்தி பந்தியாக அந்தனர் மறைப்பாட பந்தி பந்தியாக அந்தனர் மறைப்பாட பந்தி பந்தியாக அந்தனர் மறைப்பாட பந்தி பந்தியாக அந்தனர் மறைப்பாட பாலகிருஷ்ணனும் மத்தளம் போட கோபாலகிருஷ்ணனும் மத்தளம் போட கனக சபை திருநடனம் கண்டு களித்த கனக சபை திருநடனம் கண்டு களித்து ஆனந்தம் அடைந்த சிவமே நடராஜா நடராஜா நர்தன சுந்தர நடராஜா
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 சிவராஜா சிவராஜா சிவகாமி பிரிய சிவராஜா
சிவராஜா சிவராஜா சிவகாமி பிரிய சிவராஜா
நடராஜா நடராஜா நர்தன சுந்தர நடராஜா
நடராஜா நடராஜா நர்தன சுந்தர நடராஜா
நம பார்வதி பதயே
ஹர ஹர மகாதேவ
சிச்சபேஷ
சிவ சிதம்பரம்
நம சிவகாமியை
ஜெகதம்பிகே
சிவகடாட்சம்
பரிபூர்ணம்
நவநீத
चोराय नन्दादि गोप गोरक्षिणे गोपिका वल्लभाय नारद मुनीन्द्रनुदय नामधेयाय नारायणानन्दतीर्थ गुरवे जय मङ्गलम्
நித்ய சுபம்
மங்களம்
ஸ்ரீராமச்சந்திர ஸ்ரித பாரிஜாத சமஸ்த கல்யாண குணாபிராமக சீதாமுகாம்போருக சஞ்சரீக நிரந்தரம் மங்களம் நிரந்தரம் மங்களமாதனோது ஸ்வஸ்தி பிரஜாப்ய பரிபாலயந்தாம் ஞாயேன மார்கேண மகிமீஷா கோப்ராஹ்மணேभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु मंगलम सद्गुरुभ्योस्तु मद्गुरुभ्योस्तु मंगलम सर्वेषामस्तु भक्तानां नित्यश्री नित्यमंगलम भक्तानां नित्यश्री नित्यमंगलम सद्गुरु स्वामिनः
जय
आंजनेय स्वामी की
जय
राम 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 15 நிமிஷம் லேட் ஆனதுனால ஒரு 15 நிமிஷம் லேட்டா வச்சுட்டோம் 11:45 ரொம்ப உங்களை சோதனை பண்ண நான் விரும்பல அதனால நீங்க எல்லாரும் க்ஷேமமா இருக்கணும் பிரார்த்தனை இந்த மாதிரி போட்டா
That was indeed a very divine and spiritual experience for all of us, which brought about our senses and our innate religious favor and created so much of awareness in us. We thank you very much. May I request our director to please felicitate the artists. Thank you very much. This evening, Kalakshetra Foundation presents Paduka Pattabhishekam at 6 o'clock. Looking forward to all your presence. Please be there 10 minutes earlier. Thank you very much. Namaskar.